JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has a huge problem, and I'm tired of people pretending it doesn't exist. It's a problem around copyright. I'm sure you've seen it, whether watching dub, sub, or even when reading the official manga releases. There seems to be no hope in escaping it. You'll be enjoying the series, and then all of a sudden, your favorite character, your favorite stan, or even your favorite ability will have his name changed to something so absurd, it'll instantly crush your immersion. Thanks to the heavy hand of copyright, the adaptation team cowers in fear, almost to an irrational point, swapping out nearly everything that has even a 1% chance of attracting lawyers. This ends up robbing us, the viewer, of a major part of the magic of the series, where nearly every namesake is in reference to a musician, song, or album. This referential nature is part of the very soul of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and is present throughout almost every aspect of the series. Hirohiko Araki, the author of the series, has chosen to make reference to all the things he loves by giving them new life throughout his works. The breadth of the material he borrows from includes, but is not limited to, poses from fashion designers and statues, names from the musical world, characters designs based on actors, and even from folktale. To have any of those missing from his work would be a compromise of his artistic vision, so it's no wonder why fans are so relentless in their mocking of the localization. For most viewers, the reasoning for the changes doesn't even make a lick of sense. Even when watching the show in Japanese with English subtitles, you can hear the characters clearly saying the original names, but the localizers want you to know you can't trust your lying ears, as they replace the subtitles with copyright-free and copyright-friendly versions of the original names. Surely, if copyright's an issue, saying the word is no different from writing it. Saying the name with Japanese romanization shouldn't make it exempt from the same scrutiny that's present on the localized dub. Otherwise, why couldn't they just have every name transformed to its Romanji equivalent to avoid the issue? Kind of like what they did in Part 2, which seems to have no issues pertaining to copyright, such as with Cars, AC/DC, and WAMU. Most viewers know that early on in the series with Parts 1 and 2, name changes were rare, few and far in between. But name changes started becoming the norm from Part 3 onwards, where nearly every copywritten name was changed. Still, strangely, a lot of the names are still in reference to classic music after the change. They just picked a different album name or a different song name for some characters. I don't have to tell you why that doesn't make any sense. Sometimes to me it seems like the issue actually isn't with copyright. That's just the excuse they're using so they can make their own changes, putting references to the things they like, or just to make a stupid pun or joke. Like in 2005 when they decided to name Steely Dan Rubber Soul, only to find out that in 1999 the user Yell Temperance was already named Rubber Soul. So when it came to the Crunchyroll release, they decided to rename Steely Dan to Dan of Steel, just to make a pun on Man of Steel. I'm starting to seriously get some Jelly Donuts vibes from the localizers. Like they just decided, hey, our audience won't understand the original reference, so we'll just change it to something they will understand, even if it doesn't fit the naming scheme's original spirit. Then sometimes, they just seem perfectly content on the Japanese romanization of the original names, which is the compromise I'd personally make, like in the case of the Manish Boy and ZZ. I don't know if it would kill them to have some consistency with the name choices, but as an avid JoJo enjoyer, it aggravates me to no end. There seems to be no underlying themes or philosophies guiding the name changes. It makes it come off as hollow, uninspired, which, like I said earlier, robs the consumer of part of the soul of the series. To help you understand my point, I'm going to explain it a little bit differently. We all know JoJo is very popular when it comes to poses. It's one of the pillars of the series. The popularity of the JoJo pose led it into the mainstream's consciousness, and it too is taken from reference material, just as with the names. Yes, nearly every pose in JoJo is quote-unquote non-original, and is modeled almost one-to-one after the works of other creatives, usually in the field of fashion. Here's some quite popular examples you may know from the series contrasted with their original inspiration. As you can clearly see, the poses are clearly sourced from another copywritten work, and by that standard should be subject to the same changes by the localization team. Even if copyright isn't an issue, the consumer might not understand what these poses mean, so the localization team, they might just have to change them so they could be recognized by the average person, just like they've already done with a couple of the names in the series. Now could you imagine just for a second that they come in using that excuse as a pretense and started mucking about, changing poses into ones from glorious public domain, or just to reference things that they like? That would be absurd. No one would want to read or watch the series because of how shamelessly defaced it was, and it would be clearly lacking in free artistic expression. And that's how I personally feel when it comes to the localization of the series. The original Japanese work feels like a new car running on all cylinders. Nothing is holding it back. when it comes to the official English releases.
It feels like this.
Of course, none of the blame is with any of the talented English voice actors, they're only reading what they've been told to, but it unfortunately makes the experiences of the English dub undesirable for me and many others. These voice actors are fantastic, I've listened to them myself, they can pull off things just as good as their Japanese counterparts. And I can tell when watching interviews with them that they've gotten undue hate directed towards them because of these localization changes that they have no part in. For most of JoJo, I've watched with both the Japanese and English dub, all the way up to part 4, but the amount of low quality name changes made from 4 onwards, I've only been able to stick with the original Japanese dub. Starting from 4, it just seems like they opened a thesaurus and changed the names around with that. It's kinda ridiculous. I mean, you already know it, just look at these examples. And perhaps the worst one. I do appreciate, however, some of the funnier ones that were done this part, like Boys to Man becoming Boys Man Man. At least someone on the team was creative with it. However, I think part 5 takes the cake for the worst localized names currently. I'm sure part 6 will eventually top it when it's all released. But part 5, holy man. Part 5 seems to have started this trend where JoJo's stand is named after the title rather than its original name. It sounds extremely tacky. Part 5 Golden Wind featuring JoJo and his stand Golden Wind. Anyway, what I think particularly makes part 5 bad is that it just seemed to scream their stand names and abilities so much more often than the older parts. Man can only take so much of
Emperor Crimson
and
Superman!
Before his soul parts from his body. At least a lot of them didn't get the Rolling Stones treatment where the localized name was just a literal description of the stand. Prophecy Stones. I can see it now. Jordo with Life Statue, Bucciarati with Zipperman. Oh wait. Abashio with Memory Man. Mista with 6 bullets. Again? And Norachia with Small Aircraft. Which I guess is already pretty much Lil Bomber.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Actually, for the most part, they all did get the same treatment. And all the other characters got thesaurus. Like when Kraftwerk changed to Arts and Crafts. There's no way they could expect you to take that seriously. I guess I'll move on to part 6. There's not too much to mention since it hasn't completely aired yet. But I think they're stepping up to make the worst localization possible. Same old crap where the title's given to the stand and it doesn't make any sense. The whole point of Jolene's stand being called Stone Free is because it's going to give her the ability to escape the stone ocean that she's in. But the localization had to go and take this and turn it into this.
Then I'll name my ability too. It'll be Stone Ocean, because somehow I'm gonna free myself from the sea of stone.
That's like naming yourself Slave because you're going to become a free man. It also really kills the badassery because Stone Free is manifested from her fighting spirit, which is fighting for freedom. So being called Stone Ocean is just a real slap in the face. And the localization problems haven't even stopped from there. We've already got most of them available on the game on the PS4, Eyes of Heaven and All-Star Battle. If it's anything to go by with previous parts, they're going to take the already localized names from the games and just use them in the English releases. So I already expect all the other names in the English release of Stone Ocean to be taken from the game. And they're pretty bad. I don't want to spoil the rest of the Part 6 localized names for those who haven't played the video game or who are waiting for the rest of the series to release. But Part 7 got a really bad change, and we won't be seeing it for a while, so I'll mention it now. This is the best of the worst, with Funny Valentine and instead Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, or D4C. A name so ground-shaking and imposing, it would need something equally as striking to match it, right?
Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
Oop, ouch, fart. Brace! 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 Oh, brace!
This shouldn't be a surprise to us by now. Even the glossary in All-Star Battle mocks the name change, while continuing to use the short version, D4C, as if there's no greater meaning to it. Anyhow, that's as far as I'm willing to go into it right now. I haven't read all of Part 8 yet, but I believe only 2 characters have localized stat names as of right now, since they are in Eyes of Heaven. And I'll say now, I don't think any of the name changes will get any better from here on in. Hope everything I've shown you solidifies the point that the attempts to make all these names copyright free and to make changes to relate to a different audience hurts the English release of the series. It also hurts the English dub by causing great voice work to be snubbed by fans who are loyal to the original. And that the localization in fact steals from the very soul that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as I have said earlier, by not respecting Araki's artistic vision. Now you may be asking yourself,
Hey, this guy talked a lot of crap but did offer a solution.
which yeah, I kinda did. I mean, I did say earlier you could just pronounce the names with Japanese romanization, since they released a Japanese dub untouched, other than the subtitles. But who knows what I might be missing. Some obscure law where it says if someone's speaking completely in Japanese, that copyright doesn't apply to them. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you like this video, more are coming, not just on JoJo, but on things like Yakuza, the Trail series, Persona, and more. If that interests you, please hit the subscribe button, and like and share my video. Also shoot me a comment, it really helps a small channel like me, gives me the motivation to make more videos as well. I'm also what they call a true gamer. I have over 1,000 games on Steam, and would love to play them with someone actually watching me. So please follow me over at PsychomonTV on Twitch. The more games I play means the more videos I make about them. Anyway, farewell.